request, this video is on how to reduce your bust dart, also known as a small bust adjustment. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to square a line from center front. So you're going to square a line to the bust point. You're going to draw another line through the center of your dart, and you're going to draw yet another line from the tip of your dart to your armhole. So what you're going to do is we're trying to create a few pivot points so that we can reduce our dart. The one thing to keep in mind whenever you are working on a pattern and you want to do any pattern manipulation, whether it's darts or seams or whatever necklines, please do keep in mind, ideally you want to remove all of your seam allowances, especially the ones that you're working with. So I would most definitely remove my armhole seam allowance and my side seam allowance. Sometimes when you do a lot of pattern manipulation and you forget that those seams are there, it sometimes leads to slightly wonky and less than ideal results. So the difference between a B cup and an A cup is 1 inch. So because we're working with half a pattern, what you want to do is work with half the measurement. So before we get started and start cutting everything apart, what you want to do is give yourself a mark of half an inch, and half an inch in centimeters is 2.5 centimeters, and 2.5 centimeters in half is 1 centimeter and 1.25 centimeters. All right, so I'm giving myself a guide point of 1.25. If you are working in inches, your guide point will be half an inch. And now let's go ahead and cut our pattern apart. So I'm cutting from center front to the bust point, and then I'm going to cut up into the armhole and not through, because we do want a little bit of a pivot point in there. And then I'm going to cut through the middle of my dart towards my bust point. And once again, we are going to leave a bit of a pivot point there. So it's going to look like this. So what we're going to do to reduce the dart, usually when you are adjusting for a bigger bust, you raise the pattern because you want to create more length this way and more length this way. But we're going to be doing the opposite. So what we're doing is collapsing the pattern on itself. So you want to just slide the top of your pattern onto your guide point. You want everything to sit really nice and flat. Once you like the way it sits, let's tape it up. So it's really that simple. So if you can see right here is my front has shifted over because as a smaller cup, I don't need as much fabric going this way, and I don't need as much fabric going that way. So the pattern shortened this way, as well as it shortened in the width. So if you can see, I have quite a bit of fabric that I want to get rid of. So what we're going to do is square your center front, and this is just extra that we will cut off. Make sure your center front is nice and square. If this line is not straight, then it will mess with your grain line and center front line, and then things get ugly. So as you can see right here, this is my smaller dart right here. So let's cut it out so you can actually see just how much it was reduced by. And while we're at this, let's also true our side seam and make this dart lovely. So there you go, my original dart, as you can see, compared to my new dart, much smaller, which is what we want. So that is a reduction in one size. If you can tell by here, not only did we reduce across here, we also reduced along the length. So by reducing across here, we have all of this that we got rid of. So this is a really ideal way to reduce your bust dart if you also have to reduce your waist. If you don't like the measurement on your waist and you think you'd want to take a little bit off that as measurement as well, this is a great way to do this. So let's measure here. So we've reduced this by, guess what? 1.25. So I reduced my pattern going across this way, including the waist, by 1.25 centimeters, which is in total 2.5 centimeters, which means I've just reduced my waist by 1 inch total. If that is something that works for you, wonderful. Let's get rid of this. There you go. That is brand new pattern. What you want to do is now let's true our dart and let's true our side seam. So I'm just going to get a little bit of paper and I'm going to tape it up and let's true our dart. So this is a great way to, once again, reduce your dart and reduce your waist at the same time. If reducing your waist is really not an option and you want all of those centimeters, inches at your waist, then the next way that I'm going to show you how to reduce your dart is the tutorial for you. But first, let's true this dart. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold this dart. Make sure you always fold it towards the bottom as if you were sewing it. And all you're going to do is just cut while the dart is folded. Okay, cut this off and cut this off. And there you go. That is your brand new reduced dart with also a reduced waist. Now let's say we did reduce this and you did want to reduce your waist, but maybe not quite by 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. What you would do as you're truing your dart is you would, let's say you wanted to only reduce it by 1/2 inch, and instead of the whole inch, what you would do is add 1/4 inch to your seam, side seam, and then you would redraw this line as you're truing your dart. So when your dart was closed, and let's say I had to add 1/4 inch here, I would just redraw this line to nothing right here, and that would give you that missing 1/2 inch if that is what you're missing in your pattern. So now let's take a look at if you how to reduce the bust dart without taking anything or very little, minimal off your waist, because sometimes we want a little bit more waist. We don't necessarily need to lose the measurement in the waist. All we want to do is lose the measurement in the bust dart. Once again, you are removing your seam allowances, you're drawing a line through the center of your bust, you're squaring a line from center front to your bust point, and this time, instead of going into your armhole, we're going into your side seam. And once again, let's cut this one apart, to but not through. And before we do this, I forgot to give myself a guide point. So once again, the difference between cup sizes is 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters, and you're going to take half of that measurement. So it would be 1/2 inch if you're working in inches, or 1.25 centimeters if you're working in centimeters. Okay, and let's continue cutting through the center of the dart, but not through the tip of the dart. And once again, we are closing this dart. We're sliding the pattern, the top pattern, down to our guide point. And while we do that, our dart will close like so. Make sure everything is nice and parallel. You don't want things like that look like this. You don't want things that look like this. Once everything's nice and flat where you want it, let's tape it up. And as you can see, my center front has barely moved, has just barely moved. So what I'm going to do is once again square my center front line. Okay, and there is your reduced bust dart. Let's once again cut it out and let's true our side seam. So when you come to something that your bust dart that looks like this, no real point. As you can see, my bust dart is like, there's no nice tip to it. So what I like to do is take a look at where the original tip was, which was right there. And I'm going to just redraw these dart legs. Let's do that again. Let's redraw these dart legs. Draw this one right here. There, and there is your bust point. Okay, so there is your brand new dart. Once again, an A cup from a B cup. Let's tape up your dart. Let's fold it up and let's true your side seam all at the same time. Now that you know how to reduce your bust dart, and you are going to be a pro at doing this, very easy step. Do let me know in the comments if you found this nice and helpful. Let's close this dart, pinching the tip, true our dart. If you have by any chance one that sticks out more than another, you're going to use your ruler and find a nice straight line. I might have copied this little bodice, not in the most exact way. So what you're going to do is just true that nice straight line. As you can see, my copying of the bodice was less than perfect. And I'm going to just draw, or sorry, just cut this bodice there. And there you go. There is my A size beautiful dart. That's the way we want it. We did not touch the waist. We hardly touched the waist. Before you cut anything here, do measure how much you are losing. And if you can't afford to lose that much, once again, take that measurement and add it to your side seam and then just true your side seam. I hope this video was really helpful, but now that you know how to reduce your dart, you might as well learn how to sew it in a perfect way. And no, in a straight line is not the answer. I'll see you in the next video.